Okay. But that'd still be fun.
It should be fun, yeah. Okay, so now where were we?
So your mom could make that pie, right?
Yeah.
The red cinnamon apple
Yeah,
pie.
she was a great cook. And
Yeah.
you know what I tell Mary Jo right now for Thanksgiving? She makes the same cook the same as my mother did.
Oh wow.
And then her mother cooked the same as my mother did. So I'm still eating the same type of Thanksgiving meal that I've been doing all my life. Yeah,
Wow.
it is. It comes out. It come out different. You know, you never know how things
Yeah.
are going to be. You know, and she always enjoyed Christmas. There's always all kinds of decorations around the house and stuff like that. You know, and then downstairs my grandparents lived. You know, my grandmother Danaher, she was a nice lady, but she was very strict.
Okay.
She, even with their own house, all downstairs, she ran the show. She was
Yeah.
the one that was it. My grandfather was a very quiet man, and I used to go down to get the oil because we had an oil stove and you had to fill it up every day, you know, upstairs. And a lot of times he'd be down there working out with his tools or whatever he was doing. So I spent some nights sitting down there talking to him for a half hour, an hour and stuff, and he was very nice. He was a typical old Irishman, you know. And then when I was younger, still I used to work at the bowling alley down St. Francis Xavier Hall. They had two alleys, and I used to be a pinboy there. And he used to come down and play with his compadres from the hill, you know.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you how the Irish thought. They were very funny. I remember the time I was standing there, and one of the guys asked the other gentleman, "Now, how is, say, Patty doing?" "Oh, I heard he was sick." "Yeah, well, he's doing all right." "You know what?" I said. He said, "What?" He says, "Well, he'll be fine because he's too dumb to die," he says. So and I always remember that saying. I said, "They were too dumb to die, so he'll be all right." But that's how it was. They were good people. Then my aunts lived down there, you know. They had a full house, you know. And then that was going on. And then different things happened over the years. I had a lot of friends in the neighborhood, you know. You know, that's my name got changed to Barry when I started going out from Thomas, because there was 3 Thomases right across the street from each other.
Okay.
So somebody go out and call Thomas. They don't know who they were calling. So my mother, I guess she liked the name Barry because that was her last name. So she stuck Barry on me, and I still have it to this day, you know.
Yeah.
But that's how things worked in those days.
So how about in terms of your brothers? What do you remember in terms of growing up with?
Oh, okay. My brothers, I'll start with Jack. He was the oldest one. Jack was very good to me growing up. He, you know, always let me wear his clothes when I got bigger. He had a lot of clothes. He bought and I could always wear anything I wanted. He never questioned me if I wore his shirt or something out and stuff. He was very good to me, you know. And he was 7 years older than me, you know, so that made a difference in what we did. But he was, in fact, when I graduated from grammar school, Jack was, what do you call those people that go on the trip with you?
Oh, chaperone.
Chaperone.
Okay.
He was a chaperone for our class trip, so it was good. So we had a good time and stuff like that. He was good basketball player. I used to go watch him play basketball, and play for Wilby and things like that. And he was good. Then when he got married, things changed a little bit. Deb got a little more, his wife got a little bit more possessive, and we never saw him as much, you know.
Okay.
But that happened, and that's how it was, you know. And then there's Brian. He came along, and he let us know he was there, that's for sure. He was good, and there was a lot of different things, but we got along all right. We never had any big fights or anything like that. He was good, and we did things together. We used to go on vacations with Dallas, the 2 of us, go down to the Milford. She ran a place down there for the week, and we go down there and stay with her. And we had good times and stuff like that. then what else? Yeah, then he got, and then I got married. I got married young. I was 19, so he was 14 when I got married. So he was doing all right for himself. He was very good mechanic. He liked to tinker with cars and stuff. He really did a good job on all that stuff and did other things like that. And then he had his own friends, and then I was married, and once I got married, I went into 2 jobs, so I didn't have time for much at all. But that was all right. That's fine. I don't regret any of that. And then, so that was good. He worked at the Lions Club for a summer or 2, doing that, and he enjoyed it. And then he was a good kid. But he had a temper, I gotta say that. He always had a temper, but he was a good kid. He didn't, he might have caused my parents more trouble than I know, but I wasn't living at home, so I don't know. But I always got along well with him, and things like that. So we did that thing. But and after my parents died, I put him on my car insurance. And that was when I had the state troopers at my door, because him and the guys from work, he was working at the power company at that time, and I don't know what they did, but they did something to get the rile of the people, so they called them. But nothing ever came out of it, so I don't know really what the heck the deal was. They did something that they shouldn't have done.
I know he had a couple of things. I know he had the car into the front porch of a house. I know he did that.
Yeah.
I know he had some issue where he chased somebody or
That's
something.
the way they chased somebody.
Yeah, so I know they did that. So.
And then it was funny, when he had hit the front porch, one of the guys, I was working at the power company. I was just started there when he did that on Hamilton Avenue. And one of the guys said, who is this? Is this the guy that's working with us? We just got. And the guy said, no, I don't think so. And then they found out it was, and found out it was my brother and everything else. And that was that. Yeah, he was coming home from someplace late at night, and he just got off. I don't know where he was coming from, but he was coming, and that was it. But that was it. So I had to take him off my insurance. My insurance man came to my house, Mr. Swift. I'll never forget that, from Thomaston, in fact. He says, I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to take him off the insurance, because your insurance is going to go right through the roof. So I talked to her brother, I told him, and he got his own insurance and stuff like that, got a new car and stuff like that. Yeah. Then we went to work together down in North Haven and Pratt & Whitney. Yeah, that was good. First it was different because he was working the day shift and I was working a night shift, so it was different things. I used to have to get rides, and then finally we all got changed to the day shift, so that made it better. And I rode down with 5 of us used to ride down, because they had no highway at that time. We'd go through Cheshire and down into the back way. So that was it, but it was part of life. And then he left to go to the power company, and I stayed down there and I was working. And then what happened there near the end, when I finally was lucky enough to get in the power company, every union contract come up, they have us go out and strike. I had 2 strikes, and I wasn't working for a whole summer almost one time. And I said, I can't keep doing this the rest of my life. I got it. So I finally stopped in to talk to Jody Danaher at the American Brass. That's where she was. She was the secretary for the president of American Brass in Waterbury. So I went to see her, and she said, no, we'll see, but they're not doing any hiring here, she said. I said, okay. She says, but I have a friend, Tom Ganud. I don't know if you knew the Ganuds. They went to Holy Cross. There was 3 of them, 3 brothers. So she said, yeah, Tom Ganud. I can know Tom, I'll talk to him. So she talked to Tom Ganud, and then he talked to the fellow over at the, what do you call it, CLMP. and they set up a date, and I went to see him. I got the job, and it was funny, when I was going, I told your brother I got it going there. He says, just don't take the line department. See if you can get something else. So I went over there, and I sat down, and he said, well, we have one opening, and it's the line department. That's all we have. So I said, oh boy. So I took it, because I didn't want to go all the way back down North Haven. Now I could go right here in Waterbury, and so I took a kickback in my salary and started as a helper and did all the stuff that I had to do and got there. And here I am today, and it turned out all right. It was a good place to work. A lot of nice, good people there. But like any place else, there was always a few that were a pain in the neck. But you knew them. Everybody knew them, not just you. They were with the same with everybody. So you just humored them. That's all you could do, you know. And then I retired, and I was happy to take the early retirement. Things like that goes on, but yeah, you never know. You don't know. That's the truth. I'll give you that much to say.
And how about, what do you remember from Gary, like growing up?
Gary, he was a good kid. He was very good, very attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, when I was going to my junior prom, he had to get dressed up with his suit and his bow tie and everything else, because I was going, and I took pictures with him. I got some somewhere, yeah. And he was good, and that was it. And then, you know, it was a big loss for him when my mother died.
Yeah. That
set him back and things like that. And then a year later, my father died. So that really threw him into a dither, you know. And that he wanted to stay with me. And I tried to work out a deal that he could, you know, that he could come, because he wanted to go to Sacred Heart with the kids from the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And with that, it didn't work out that way, because Jack was appointed his, whatever you want to call him, caregiver or something. Mm-hmm. And all the checks went to Jack. And for me to take him, Jack would have to relinquish all that and give it to me to take care of him. He didn't want to do it. So he had to stay with Jack and Deb out in Woodbury. And it didn't turn out too good for him out there. Mm-hmm. But he was a great runner. He set some school records. I don't know if they still stand at Naniwag. He was a good runner, yeah. And that's what he liked to do. That's even when he moved out to California, when I went out to see him. He was riding his bike all over before he had his bout with cancer, you know. Yeah. And that was that. And yeah, that was it. He was a good kid, but he did have his problems. He did a little bit of drugs for a while there in between, but that was it. And at that time, most of the kids were, sorry for you to say, were doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it was no different, but he finally conquered it and stopped doing everything. And he was down in Texas at Austin. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to him, and he asking about what's down in Texas. He says, well, the best thing I liked about my job down there. I said, what's that? He said, every so many days I would go over and watch Roger Clemens pitch, because he was pitching for Texas at that time. He said, whenever he was pitching, I could get out of there, change my hour in the kitchen, you know. Yeah. I would go over there and watch him pitch. He said, so I said, you caught him in the beginning? He said, yeah, I did. He said, he was good. He was fast then, too, and heavy. So that was it. Then he moved to California, and he wanted to live in San Francisco, but couldn't afford it. It was just too expensive for him. So he moved up to Sacramento, and there was a bunch of people from Boston that he ran into, and they formed the Red Sox Club. And they used to watch every game they could on TV with the Red Sox, and they always went over to Oakland when they were playing the Oakland A's. Mm-hmm. They went over to see the Red Sox play. So he had his things with fans, but otherwise that was it. He was just tough. But I had a few talks with him, and I never forget one that still bothers me. asked me, he says, why did things turn out this way? And I couldn't give him an answer. I couldn't. I said, well, I don't know what to tell you, Gary. It's too bad. But he was good until he was, some nights he was in so much pain that I went over to see him, and I was in the next room and he was on the couch because he couldn't get into the bed. I know he was in a hospital bed this time, right? Yeah. So I went out there and there he was, and I was talking to him, and I said, no, you can't get out of bed. You can't, because you can't walk. Don't try. So he said, don't tell me what to do. And he swung his thing. His elbow caught me in the eye. Oh. And so I had to call the nurses and stuff. So they came to see him. Then the next day when the help came, my whole face was all black and blue and stuff. So they said, wow. I said, so they gave him a talking to and told him, if you want your brother to stay with you, see, look what it looks like. You can't do that again, Gary, or else we're going to have to put you in a home. Yeah. So he straightened out after that, I think, whatever he did, but that's what it was. Yeah, they wanted me to go get an x-ray and everything. They didn't know whether he broke my cheekbone or what, but he hit me hard. And that was it. And we stayed with him, and that was it. And yeah, but at the end, I used to get, I tell you, I had long days because they only would give me an hour off at noon hour because I had to have like a baby monitor on all the time for him. So when they came in every noon hour to clean them up and stuff like that, I could go out and I used to get my lunch and walk around for an hour and then come back and stay with him. And that was that. He lasted for a while, but that's what life is all about, I guess. Think about those things, you know? Yeah. Then we get back and come back home, and I had everything done. I was surprised. I had the landlord, I asked her permission to have a little party in the courtyard for after work. And I said, okay. She said, all right. So she was very nice. So I ordered some pizzas, and she made some salads and all this stuff. And we put the notice up in work. And I overwhelmed at how many people showed up. Oh, wow. We had over 50 people, which we had no idea was going to come. Yeah. And then I did have a mass at the cathedral for him. And that was it. And then sent his body back home and had him wake from Murphy's, and that's it. But that was it. It was quite a time when I think about it, you know. And I was supposed to go to Ireland that summer, and I never did. I couldn't go. That's when Michael went over to Ireland in my place, and that's when he fell in love with Ireland. So it was something to do with all this working around that he got to go. He never wanted to go to Ireland.
And now he's going to move there.
Now he's going to move there. That's right. That's the funny part of life. You don't know what's going to come out of it. So he's over there now. Yeah. So what other things? Before I left there, I got rid of all Gary's sports equipment because he had a lot. He had a beautiful lightweight mountain bike. Mm-hmm. And I gave it to his friend from Boston, the fireman for his grandson. Okay. So I gave that away, and I gave a few other things away. Yeah. And I brought a few things home from him. I got his little clock upstairs. And I have his cookbook in there that he had, because he liked to cook. Mm-hmm. But when I was out there, what he wanted the most of anything else, and I said, okay, what do you want? He says, I want you to get some hamburger and get some tomato sauce and get some hot dogs and cook them all in this frying pan for me. That's what he wanted. I said, well, that's easy enough. I can do that without any problem. So I did that, and that was, it was good. The landlord was very nice. I mean, she didn't own the place. She was the manager of it. She was very nice, So she used to bring up a pot of coffee every morning for us. So, that was good. It started off the day good, And that was much more than that. We're going on with it. But
So how about what was your favorite memory of growing up?
my favorite memory of growing up, I think it was going down to Milford for the summer for a month anyway. I think it was. We used to go down there every summer for a month. It was good. We had a good time down there. You know, there was the Ship Ahoy and a few other places that are not there anymore.
Okay.
And we used to play down on the beach and be there all summer, you know, or at least a month. I know it was at least a month, yeah. And I can remember one year we were down there and an early hurricane was coming in. So we had to pack up and come home for the night. And it wasn't that bad, so we went back the next day, you know. But, yeah, Milford was nice, yeah. And then with the neighborhood kids, we had a good time. We really did, because we used to go down to Lots, which was the empty lot where, what's his name is, Kelly's funeral home was. You know, right between there and the next house down, there was an empty lot. We used to play there. And it was funny, some days the owner of the lot, Mrs. Burns, up and back, would holler at us, tell us to get out of there. Other days she'd be out in the yard doing, but I'd never say a word, let us play. So, you know, you didn't know what kind of a day you were going to get when you got there. And that was that. And then there was, you know, other kids in the neighborhood. It was across the street, there was, you know, like I say, Tommy Hardigan and the River Goggins and Joe Huzzy and the Crowleys and right there. Yeah, it was a good neighborhood at that time, yeah. We had a good time. And we were the only ones that went to Washington School. And everybody else in the neighborhood went to St. Francis. And up our top of the hill, there was nobody else that went to. But that was my father's decision. He decided that coming from the family that made him go into the priesthood, he didn't want us to have to. But we had to go to religious instructions anyway, and all that stuff, which was fine. I have no problem with that because I still am a good, devout Catholic. But yeah, that's how things work out. Things go different for everybody, you know. But yeah, again, I can remember some incidents. I remember getting shot in the eye with a plunger bow and arrow, and I couldn't get it out of my eye. So it stuck, suction stayed on there. So they finally took me to the doctor, and nothing happened. It was just a good thing it wasn't a steel head. Yeah. And then the time we all went fishing, I was probably 12, 13 years old. We went fishing down in the Ville. I don't know if you know where Pritchard's Pond is, or Pearl Lake.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
The pond there.
Yeah.
We used to go down there fishing.
Okay.
So what we were doing, we didn't have little wrap-up fishing lines. We didn't have poles in it. So we go down there. So I'm whipping it out. It goes up, it comes back, and catches me right on the eyelid. So I had him cut it off. I had to walk home when it stuck in my eyelid because we didn't know what to do. Yeah. So I get home to my mother, and she says, "We got to go to the doctor. You know where he is, Dr. Quinn. Go over there." Okay, so I go over to Dr. Quinn, and he looks at it. He said, "Wow." He said, "Can you do this and stuff?" He said, "Well, you're lucky." He said, so he just cut the end of the barb off and slipped the thing out and coated it with something. I still got 2 little dots there. And that was it. But that's how you were in that days. You didn't have your parents do anything. You did what you were told to do and had to do it. You know, nowadays, if that happened to a kid, they have to take them to the emergency room. They have to do all this stuff because it's expected of them. Yeah. But then, you know, they got to the doctor and everything, but I didn't have any of that. And then the time I got hit in the head with the first baseman. No, the second baseman. I was playing first base. There was a pop-up. So I was going to catch it. So he come running over at the last minute, jumped up with his head, hit it, fractured my nose. I still got the crack in my nose, and I had 2 black eyes. So again, I had to go to the doctor, and they looked at it. But that was part of being a kid. You know, we had good times. And you know, we used to go fishing and swimming. And in fact, we used to walk out to. I don't know, you know where Lover's Lane is off of, it runs from Woodtick Road out to North Main Street, is it, or the street that runs right through there. No, Woolcott Road.
Okay.
Runs from Woodtick Road to Woolcott Road on the other side. And down in there was a swimming hole. So we used to walk out there and go swimming there. And then, things like that. We did a lot of things. And I had good times in the Boy Scouts. I worked up at this camp for a summer, and it was very interesting. You meet a lot of nice kids. And there's still one kid that I meet every week. In fact, the last time I saw him was last year out at Brooklyn Bakery. I don't know, you probably know who he is. He's the drum major for the Mattituck band, Billy Pierpoint.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I saw him out there, and he was one of the kids I had at the Boy Scout camp, and he's still going along strong. And that was it. You made a lot of nice friends, and stuff like that. And you worked, and that was all. And my biggest regret now is, which is real late, that I didn't get my Eagle Award. I had the life, and I had more than enough merit badges, but I just needed a couple of ones that were required.
Yeah.
So that was it. But I had a great time. I went down to Valley Forge on the big jamboree. That was something. It was thousands and thousands of people. That was my own personal things. And then we did have a lot of family trips to Old Orchard Beach. We used to go up there too for a while, a few days, and everything else. It was good times. We had good family times together, but there was still times that weren't so nice, but everybody has them. Things going on in the family. People are crazy, and then you got to say, okay, just let it go and just move on. But that was it. And like I say, all the ladies downstairs were very nice to us, They were all good. Trudy was very nice. And then Mary was my godmother.
Okay.
So she was a nice lady. And then there's just left John and Barbara Corcoran, the only two other ones left. And in fact, and everybody on South Street, I'm the only survivor of all 3 floors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the walls upstairs are all gone, and all the Danahers downstairs are all gone, and even Kay Hunter and Nancy Hunter, who lived there for a while, they're all gone. So there's nobody, I'm the only survivor of that. And it was quite a few people, I don't know how many, but Franny Wall. It was, I used to go to the ball games with Franny Wall and Rexy Dwyer. We used to go in the Hudson. The Green Hornet was called. He was Father Dwyer's brother, Rexy, because they lived nearby, And Franny was crippled. He had a hard time walking, but he could just about get around, but he did. We used to go out to the Hamilton Park to see the games, And that's where I first got in contact with a dog. They had a dog named Blackie. It was a Cocker Spaniel. So some days I would take him down walking from Franny because he couldn't be around. But his sister Ann always took him out at night. So he had the dog. He was a good dog too, So I used to take him walking. And I used to also do grocery shopping for Franny at times. If I always knew he was gone, I asked him if he needed help, and he said I would appreciate it. And I said I always go with him, and get his stuff and help him home. But he wanted to be as independent as he could, I guess. I don't blame him. It's hard to be, because he wasn't able to work, and I don't know what kind of money they gave away at those times.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you're out, you'll get compensation or something, but then I doubt it, So that was it. And the people next door, everybody was nice at that time. I think we had a couple tough ones, Oh, my grandmother could be tough at times too. If we were playing ball out in front of the house and she wanted it quiet, she would tell us to get out of there, I said, okay. So we moved, But that was it. But then playing baseball up front, we were playing what we used to call Peggy. I don't know if you ever heard about it. It used to be the end of a clothespin. You cut that off, cut the two things off, and then we had a broom handle. And you used to throw the Peggy and hit it. That's what we used to use for our bat and ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we played Peggy out there in the streets and stuff. And then one day, Sister Gertrude come home. She wasn't a sister at that time. She was just a dot, you know. So she said, I'm going to play with you, okay? And we said, sure, go ahead, try. She got one. She hit one. She knocked it off the light on my father's car and broke it. We said, okay, now you're the one that's going to tell him, not us. So she got it. Yeah, it was funny. She was very athletic. So was Peggy.
Yeah.
Peggy played basketball and everything else. You know, I didn't realize that until I got to see her up at the place up there, you know. She was a very athletic girl, yeah. She loved the Mets. She used to go to quite a few Mets games because she lived right in Queens, you know, and that stuff, and do all the other good stuff, yeah. So, it was good times. I can't really complain about. The only thing I still remember, and I tell the kids when they complain about being cold, I said, we slept in the back bedroom. I said, once the first frost comes on the windows, that's it. You don't see out again for the winter because the frost stays on the window.
Wow.
Because that back bedroom was the farthest away from the heat, and we got the less. So I said, I wore hats to bed. Everybody did.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. And you got your quilts and stuff, and you were warm. He says, but you got up in the morning, you didn't want to get dressed in there. You run out to the kitchen and warm up first, and then take your stuff and go in the bathroom and get dressed. But that's it, kid. No, it couldn't be that. I said, yeah, it was, I'm telling you. Because we had one stove in the kitchen, that's all, one in the other room, which heat the other side. But yeah, people.
And then did you share a bedroom with your brothers?
Oh yes, all of us shared the same
Yeah.
room, yeah.
Oh.
And then when Gary came along, Jack was going to get, I was out after that. But before that, we had a bunk bed. So two were in the bunk bed and two were in the big double bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how it worked, yeah. And then Gary and Brian were in the bunk bed. And then, yeah, when Jack left, I had the bed by myself for a while. And then Jack, and then Gary and Brian had their bed. Yeah, and that's how that worked. It was, everything was shared. Nobody ever complained about it, you know, and did their things. And think nothing of wearing their coats. When they grew out of it, you just wore it.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody in the neighborhood did the same thing. So there was no stylish that you had to have the update style and that stuff, which was good for us, you know. And then Alice used to make us mittens and stuff like that. So that was good. So yeah, it was cold, I gotta say, what I remember of it, yeah. So that's why I always thankful I got what I got now. I just go to bed in a nice warm bed. And all that other good stuff. But that was, yeah, no, it wasn't that, at times it could be tough. It all depends what mood my father was in. He controlled how the house was, more or less. Yeah. You know, if he was mad or he had a few drinks or something, things quieted down, you just stayed away from it and he didn't bother you, but you didn't do anything more than that. But that's how that worked, yeah. And my mother was always good and happy, you know, and stuff like that. She was, like I said, she was a great cook. She cooked a lot of good stuff that I can remember, you know, all her things. And she used to, even for holidays and stuff, she used to make her Swedish meatballs with onions and all that stuff and sauce. I don't know what was in it. But she used to, by then, people used to ask her to make them for them. And she would make them and bring them in other houses and stuff, so they were good. But she did have a good taste for food. Because I remember the story they were telling us about, she went to Patty Murphy's in New York, and they had a salad. And it was a new salad that wasn't, up here we didn't have any fancy salads or anything. And it was, I forget even what they called it now. But she came home, And she remembered what it tasted like, and she made that salad, and everybody said it was delicious. But I don't know even what the name of it was. But she did have a good camp. She was good. The only thing, like I say, she wasn't a cake baker. She made excellent bread and rolls and pies and great cook. But yeah, she just couldn't make a cake good, she said, so she never tried. Yeah, that was it. That was how things worked though, Mark. And it seemed everybody made it through all right, you know. Everybody had their struggles. I can't say nobody didn't have their struggles. Jack had his struggles later on in life too, and so did I, and so did Brian, and Gary did too. So I can't say anybody was perfect in any way. But to this day, I'm very fortunate that I have the family I have. They're very good to me, you know, and then I got to know you guys, and got to know other people too, you know. And some people I approached and they didn't want to be bothered, but so you can't, like I tried to be, I don't know how I want to say, I tried to be not nice to Barbara Ann, and she wanted no part of it. She just was whatever it was, so I can't make anybody do anything. But I told them, and even with John McKenna was better. I talked to John, I seen him a couple times out, and he's very sociable now, you know. It's good. He came around to it. Maybe I came around to his way, I don't know. Either way, but we, you know, got things straightened out, you know, and that was it. And then, yeah, I got to say all that stuff. And then I did have a little bad stretch myself, and I went through it, and got help from everybody, and here I am today, and I haven't had a drink since, oh boy, I was in my, probably my mid-40s.
Wow. That's
40-some years ago. Yeah, I haven't had a drink. So that was good. That part is good. I'm happy for that. And you know, you think about you drink. Why do you drink? Because you're just with somebody who is drinking, and that's what they do, and so you do it, and you say, the next day when you don't feel good, you say, why the hell did I do that? But then you go out again with the same bunch, you drink again, and it happens, and it happens.
Yeah.
So you got to say, that's it, and which I did. Then I went out with the guys after, but I just didn't drink. And it was mind over matter, I guess. And that's what, so I'm very happy with it. And I got a great bunch of kids and grandkids and everything now, so I'm very happy with that, you know. And like I said, I'm glad I got contact with you and Brian, and got things, you know, we just got separated, not by anybody wanting to do it, it was just the way things were, everybody doing their own thing and going their own way, and it's understandable, you know. But you know, it is hard. And then you think about now, whoops. And then now I've been very fortunate that I got down to see Liam play football this year.
Oh, nice.
So they got beat in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They came in second, but I said nothing to be ashamed of. If you got that far, and last year they won it.
Okay.
But they broke up the team.
Okay.
So they made a black, and he was on the blue team.
Okay.
So they took some of the kids from the blue team, put them here, and they brought some other kids onto the black team. So they made the black team stronger, but they didn't win it either. Another team from Darien won it. So. Okay. But I'll give you a funny story about him telling me, Liam. He said, "Granddaddy." I said, "Yeah, what, Liam? What's going on?" He said, "Oh, I played against a kid opposite me on the line that was bigger and taller than you." And I said, "Oh, how did that work out?" He says, "Well, they made an agreement with the Bridgeport team. This is a team from Bridgeport. That they had 3 or 4 kids that were extra big that shouldn't have been playing. But the league made a deal with them that they all wouldn't play at the same time. They could have one in at a time. But he says, in this game, because we were playing for, they had all of them in at one time. And he said, boy, they were big, he said. I said, I imagine they were. He said, yeah. He said, they were way over their weight limit. They were big. And I said, oh, so what happened? Well, we beat them anyway, he said. So that part was good, he said. But they hit you, boom, and you knew you got hit, he said. But that's how it is. So I got to see him play one game anyway, and it was good.
Nice.
Yeah, and everything else with everybody else, yeah. Yeah, well, things are going along with everything else. And then, yeah, so now John Murph's going to have a job, which everybody will be happy for him. Because, he was trying to find something, it just wasn't working out. I think he made up his mind that he had to do this, and it sounds like it's a school that's all over the world.
Okay.
It's got campuses all over the place. So I don't know much about it. I never heard of it.
Yeah.
But that he's starting there Monday. So we'll see what happens and how everything goes with that. And Sheila's doing well. She just got her, I'm going to say her second master's in psychological and all this stuff. Yeah. So she's just got a new job with a new company, and it's a promotion for her and giving her all more stuff. But she's happy with it because before that she was working. She'd have to be called out at night anytime when they had anybody with any psychological problems. And that just got to be a thing. So that she couldn't do, So she didn't want to do it anymore. She's doing this, and then she has 8 to 5, and one night a week a little later, but that's all. So it's good.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. No, so she's doing that. And Brendan, he's coming along. He's supposed to be able. He's going to some kind of help, and he's going to be ready to go out, do what he has to do, which is good,
Yeah.
And Barry's busy doing his thing, and Nancy's very busy in her business,
Nice.
So that's it. That's all that's going on with everything. But everybody, I gotta say, I think I got everybody in there somewhere or another.
No, I think it was great. The only thing I want to know, and your kids probably know, but how did you meet Ann?
How did I meet Ann? Well, she and I knew her, we were still in grammar school. I used to go down to the back of the church. They had the cow lots. We used to play baseball there. And she lived on the far end of the cow lots, on one of the 3 family houses there. And she used to come down and be there, and I knew who she was, but that was it. I had no thoughts of going with her or anything else. And then it turned out then a friend of mine wanted to date her girlfriend when we were freshmen. So he says, you know who Ann Denahan is? I said, yeah. He says, well, would you like to take her out I can go out with her girlfriend, So I says, all right, well, I thought about it. I said, okay, sure, why not? Let's try it. So that was it. I went out with her then, and then we met in CYO, because we both went to the CYO. And then things were, after that, we became pretty steady. Yeah, and then she went to the junior prom with me. And then we went to the senior prom, and then we got out and went to the big prom, And that's it, yeah, that's how we met. Yeah, it was strange. But yeah, we were there. In fact, she was in my confirmation class. We were in the same confirmation class. She was in a year ahead of me in my communion class, because her birthday was in January and mine was in May, so they had the cutoff, and she made it a year ahead of me. But that was it, yeah. When you think about it, it was good times. We just didn't have a car or anything, so we used to do most of the walking all through the neighborhood. And we used to walk from, I pick her up at her house. We walk from St. Francis Church all the way down to Hopeville.
Oh, wow.
And then go down to South Main Street, where Tranquility Dairy was, and get an ice cream or a sundae or whatever we got, and then turn around and walk back, which was a good hike. Yeah, and that was it. Things like that. And I always tell the kids now, I don't know if they believe me or not, but when we were dating, I used to go to a movie or something, get out, get something to eat, and catch the bus. And hopefully, we get there, and the bus driver will wait 15 minutes, and I would come up and take the bus back downtown and get home. But sometimes they wouldn't wait. They would just. So I used to walk from MacArthur Drive all the way back down to South Street. At 12 o'clock at night, and I never thought anything of it. Nobody ever bothered me. And if I was hungry on the way home, I used to stop at Nardelli's, which is right across from St. Anne's Church. It was an open market. It was open all night. I go in and get a sandwich and go home and have my sandwich, and that was it. But yeah, never once did I, in all the times I had to do it, that I ever got stopped by anybody or bothered me or anything.
A totally different time than now.
It definitely is a different time from now. Yeah, I said I wouldn't even make it right down the street. Probably now. Yeah, but that's true. That's how it was. Things were so much different. Yeah.
Anything else you want to share before I stop?
I'm trying to think. There's probably things that are in there that will pop up later. I said, what's going on? I don't know what else we gotta do. Things have been pretty steady since then, but things have been pretty good after that. It was shaky for a while when I was bouncing around my no work. That was terrible. That really was a long time. But when I was out of work, that's about 6 weeks. I was shoveling manure, I was putting down loam, I was anything that the guy could get me, I was doing. It was tough because, boy. And during that time, every other week we get a package from Alice. She'd buy canned goods and stuff downtown and have them delivered to us. She was good like that, she was. That was it, and then it was not much more with that stuff like that. But the kids enjoyed Fairmont. They had a lot to do up there. It was a very good place to grow up,
Yeah.
And when we first moved in there, Dr. Audette had just moved out. He was right across the street from us. We still had a couple of doctors there at that time because it was affordable while they were doing their internships or whatever they were doing, And then that was it. And but then the last year, when I finally made lineman, my salary was too much. If I stayed there, I'd be paying more than it was worth it. So that's when we had to look for a house. That's what forced us into that, which was good at that time. We found a place on Lincoln Street. That was nice for the kids. They had so many friends on there. They still talk about it to this day. There was so much for them to do, And then when they got older, they still had a lot of friends. Some of it was good and some of it was bad, but that was finding a way. That's what I always say right to this day. I pray to God and I thank Him for the kids turning around, the ones that were starting to get a little wild, that things came into their head, and now they're great guys, And so that's, but in everybody's life there is a little bit of something.
Yep, there is.
You can't say you never had it. If you are, you're lying. If you never had anything in your family, but things like that, I try to think that was it. And now everybody else is in the family. They're doing pretty darn good. They got their problems still with health. Now they got more health problems than they have anything else because of their age.
Yeah.
And then you got the corona. That was a kick in the pants to you.
Yeah.
It's something you weren't looking for.
No, but made it through. So
that's the sad.
Yeah.
Not the sad thing. That's the great thing that you make it through. And that's good. So now that's just like now. Michael called and told me he was gone. Years ago, I wouldn't even know where he was for weeks, but now he always lets me know what's going on. And like he said, usually on Saturday or Sunday mornings he comes over. So tomorrow it'll be Sunday morning. It'll be over. So that part is very good. I'm very happy with that. And that, like Mary Jo, I got to give her a lot of credit. She gives up every Thursday for me. It's just try to get our doctor's appointments there. She takes me every Thursday. She just took me the other day to see Dr. Flanagan.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is good. And then the last time she couldn't do it for one time, Michael took the day off of work and took me. So it was always, even when Ann had the cancer, when she had her chemotherapy, and there was, you know, a few hours of it, and she was always kind of like that. So somebody always got out of work early and came over and met me and brought her home with me, for I wouldn't have to bring her home by herself, you know, help her in the house, get her settled, you know. That part was, I gotta say, was very good for us, that everybody was there for each other, you know. And that's the way it is now. And then now we do Thanksgiving with Mary Jo, and then Christmas Eve with Kevin. And Christmas Day, I just have whoever's going to stop in, because I know they got it. Like this year, Todd is going to, and Mary Jo are going to have their family down there. Yeah. And then, you know, Kevin and Sue are leaving the day after Christmas to go out to visit Colleen for 4 or 5 days. So they're going. And Barry always comes down on Christmas Day because Nancy goes visit her mother too over in Newtown, you know, area. So that was it. So it's good times. I'm very happy where I am right now. I'm very frustrated too, though, because I can't drive, and that's very frustrating to me. Because sometimes I just like to get in the car, drive up to Dunkin' Donuts, get a cup of coffee, stop in Le Mans, and do something. And I saved a lot of money though, because I haven't played any lottery at all. Because I used to play it twice a week, and now I haven't played it at all. Only on great occasions I'll get tickets. So, but that you know, you gotta. Ooh. Then I'm glad, like I say, I'm glad I got to see a lot of people that I haven't seen. Then I'm going out to breakfast next Wednesday with the guys that I haven't gone. I haven't gone out there since last April, when I started having troubles with everything, you know. And that's it. And I'm still getting my therapy. She was here Thursday, so she's coming Tuesday. And it may be her last because she's expecting a baby in December. So she said, you may not get anybody because they're not hiring. I said, all right, I went this far and I think I'm doing, but I can walk pretty good in the house. I says, believe me, I won't go outside the house without a cane because of the unevenness of the earth. You know, I said, that I won't do. And I used the cane to go up and down the stairs. So she said, oh, that's good. And she says, because you're getting better. He says, but you still have a little bit of problems. I said, all right, that's going to be there. And then I found out from Dr. Flanagan, he thinks my pain in my sides, I have pain on both sides all the time. And it's worse in the morning when I get up. He thinks it's all arthritic. He said the way it sounds, he said your kidneys and everything else are up higher, there's none, shouldn't be anything there, and nothing shows up. And he says, so I would, arthritis, he says, because you did have 2 fractures in your back, and that would produce arthritis. I said, okay, so that's what you think. He says, yeah. I said, okay. So he told me that before I go to bed at night to get some arthritis Tylenol. Take a couple of them before you go to bed, and so that'll help you rest and get you sleep, and then you get up in the morning. It may still be a little help until you get up, because once I get walking around, the pain eases up. It's still there, but it's not like it when I first get out of bed. It's pain in the ass in plain English. But that's it. So I don't know, Mark. Everything else seems. I'm looking forward to Christmas.
Yep.
I am too. I bought a new Christmas Santa. I've been buying one every year, so got one. Me and Mary Jo got that this week.
Nice.
We were out, so I got one, and then I got somebody I just can't go down the cellar.
Yeah.
I'm not. I could, but I don't want to try it.
It's not worth it.
Because I fell down the stairs. That's how I got in this with my back. I said I'm not gonna. So there's always somebody with me, and which is good. That can take care of me like that, you know.
Nice.
So that's it. So that's what I think. I think it's covered everything. Are there any other questions you want?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. If there's anything else, maybe another time we can have a second version. You know.